covering all things LEGO, from Minneapolis to Fiverton and LEGO cities beyond. It's Breaking News. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking News. I am Jason. This is not Alex, nor is it Jabo, but we are fortunate to have DL Bricks joining us today. Dennis, you may remember, I think you were the second guest we had on Breaking News. Dennis?
Yeah, the guy from Brick Slopes was first.
Yeah, Cody was the first one, and then wasn't too long after that. You traveled out to Utah, and now we're going to do it. Yep, in July. So now we're going to do it the virtual way because I've tried filming this twice. Fortunately, Dennis was nice enough to step in. But if you are a fan of LEGO and you are also old enough to walk into a room and not remember what you went in there for, this might be a podcast for you.
God, that happens all the time.
Or you remember something else and you come back and like my wife will be like, why did you do that? I thought you went to get that. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, the struggle is real.
It is for sure. So, yeah, and I know all about struggle. It's been a struggle to get this episode done. So,
yeah. I was watching the teaser this morning, thinking, "Oh my God, people are going to think Jabo's on here, and then they're going to get stuck with me." I was talking to you beforehand. There's a thing in the NHL, the National Hockey League, and I know I've heard you and Alex say that you're not too interested in hockey.
Well, hockey's coming to Salt Lake now, so
it's there, yeah. And you're in my St. Louis Blues division, so I'm a huge hockey fan.
Okay.
And then we moved we got into hockey when we were in Kansas. Then we moved to where hockey is part of the culture. So Houghton, where I live, is the birthplace of professional hockey.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Michigan Tech, the university I work at, is 3-time national champion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so in hockey, there's a thing called the E-bug, the emergency backup goalie. And so each NHL team will dress a goalie and have a backup goalie, and if both get hurt, there's a neutral third party who's basically just getting tickets to come to the game, to be there in the 1 in a million chance that something happens. I'm that amateur.
You're our E-bug, huh?
I'm your E-bug, right? So I'm just happy to get a little bit of swag.
That's funny. When's the last time an E-bug actually played?
It happens once every 2 or 3 years.
Really?
And I can't remember if it happened last year or the year before last. And what's interesting is, then the defense really galvanizes around them and they try to make sure the guy doesn't look to get embarrassed. So it's amazing how the level of defensive play steps up when an E-bag pops in.
That's funny.
Yeah. So you got to step up.
Okay. Well, I'll do my best. Does that mean I have to rant like Alex? I don't know if that's going to happen. So, but everyone will be deprived.
Nobody can rant like Alex.
Well, Jabo.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
I will say this. Everyone was deprived, except for me. I guess I was the only one to see it. I got to see an episode of Old Guy New Shirt with Jabo commenting on the shirts. So that is something that will be lost to time forever, unfortunately.
Oh, that's too bad.
So, but we'll carry on. I'll try to provide some of the commentary he added. So, all right. Well, as I said, we appreciate you stepping in. So everyone doesn't feel completely out of sorts. I do have some gummy bears, so we'll carry on the spirit of Alex for the purposes of this episode.
I was wondering if I should grab some cookies or something out of the cupboard.
Well, I'll tell you this. I did ask Jabo about a specific food item down in his area because I used to work with someone that was familiar with them. Like she would talk about boiled peanuts all the time.
So disgusting.
You've had them? Okay.
Oh God.
I was going to ask you, is there something that's kind of regional to where you live up in the Upper Peninsula?
Pasties.
So what is that?
Pasty is a piece of dough with meat and potatoes and just sort of a calorie bomb that were then folded up and baked. And the miners would take them with them into the mines, and that was sort of their meal, and it would be enough calories that would last them an 8, 10, 12-hour shift or whatever they were doing in the minings here. And so if you come to the UP, people get pasties.
All right. So it's basically dinner shoved inside the roll.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's your food
I think you and I have talked about my misfit youth was racing bicycles. And I would go down to Florida to train in January. And I had a friend who lived in Tallahassee, and I was staying with him. And on one ride, we stopped, and just out of a big oil drum, guy had boiled peanuts, and we bought some, tucked them into our jersey, rode home, and they were disgusting. And Richard's mom was convinced that they were just bad boiled peanuts, so she made some more boiled peanuts that were supposed to be good, and they were equally disgusting. And that is something that I have never learned to eat.
That's funny. Jabo said he doesn't like them. He said it's been like 40 years since he had them. And he said they make different flavors, I guess. I don't know. They season them, or I don't know what they do, but
they're very, I mean, you take the beauty of a peanut, right? The crunch and crispness of it, and then it becomes slimy and almost like a pea.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a big fan of peas, so that would not do it for me. So, all right. Well, let's see. One of the things Alex and I normally talk about, well, we try to sometimes from time to time, we talk about new additions to our collection. If we have anything that's come. I have something new. As of the recording, the video dropped today. The haul video was a couple days ago. I'll show you. Now, you haven't seen this. You said you saw the haul, but you haven't seen
the haul, and I think I saw an image at some point of what it actually is.
Yeah.
But I did not see your video today.
Okay. Well, here, I will share this here. Let's see if I can make this bigger, if I can figure this out. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
I want you to get the full effect. So here is the cinema.
That's cool.
With Oswald.
So they print the parts?
Yeah, so I mean, it's all Lego parts. They all have, Lego on the stud and that kind of thing. Essentially, the only parts that are unique are this now playing, and then these parts. I'll show you quickly how this is done. As I break it. So if you look, you can see it's just.
Right. The corner.
And they just have printed part of the banner on each one there. So there's those, and then there's this little marquee symbol up there. So
that looks great.
Yeah, it's I love it. I think it's great. But I'm an Oswald fan. I don't expect anyone's going to go out and hunt for this after. But I was very excited to get it. What's that?
How many did they make?
I don't know, but it can't be a ton because, it's just a small German toy retailer. I think they just have one location in Oberhausen, Germany.
Oh, wow.
And, they have a lot of custom things that they make. So a couple hundred? I mean, I can't imagine they made millions of them or anything like that. So I have no idea how many there are. I didn't even know it existed until, during Brick Slopes, I was just scrolling and it came in my feed one night and I was like, what is this? I need one of these.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, it's a German thing. How am I ever going to get this? So I didn't think I ever would. And then Bricks on Island hooked me up. And so I'm excited. I love it. I think it's great. And I just can't say enough about it.
That's cool.
So
I was realizing that I did not have any Oswalds in my collection. And I was buying some minifigs when I was at Brick World, Grand Rapids. And someone had an Oswald right there and I had him throw it in. I was going to bring it downstairs. I forgot to.
I hope you didn't own
Oswald.
You didn't pay over like $10, I hope.
I overpaid, but I don't think I paid more than 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I see them. I saw some at Brick World Chicago when I was there. By a couple of the vendors had them, and I didn't buy them because I'm like, I'm not paying over $10. That's like, I can get 2 Oswalds for that price.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, I mean, I overpaid for a lot when I was there. Citizen Brick was there, and they have all those great custom printed tiles.
Yep.
And man, that added up quick. I was like, give me 2 of those, give me some of those, and some of those, and
yep.
$50 later, I was like, ouch, just for small bag of tiles.
Yeah, you get one tile and it's a buck or two, and all those things just add up.
Yeah.
For sure. And that doesn't even include the figs if you go into that rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I usually don't. I bought some collectible minifigs while I was there, but that's about it.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to that because I do want to ask you about your experience there. But that's pretty much the biggest news I have for my collection. That I've gotten recently, and it's big news. At least for me, it is. Now I know I saw on Instagram earlier today you got something new.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Alex isn't here. We're non-Lego brand friendly.
Lauren and Max, my wife and son, are gone for the weekend, and I do what I always do when they're gone. I grab a Lego set and start building and put Jesse Stone movies on that I would just have watched a million times in a row. But it's not Lego. And
now, what brand is this one?
This is Funhole. And so you know that I have done one of the fantasy sets. I did the Baker Street and
the Sherlock Holmes. Yep.
Okay. Sherlock Holmes one on your recommendation. And this is the first time that I've ever done anything with lights. And so the Funhole sets come with lights, and they have some pretty unique elements in them to allow you to hide the cabling. And this has got some almost gratuitous techniques that were overly complex just to be complex. It's pretty cool.
Now, is that a stained glass window in the front?
So that's meant to be a stained glass window. It's just the turntable bases with translucent 1x1 tiles, but then they have it's a LED board basically. So it's just a board about this size right here of that same glass, and it's just got all kinds of multiple lights on it so that it comes through so even across that.
Okay.
So there's different types of LED lights in it. The quality of the bricks, when I was doing the fantasy set, it seemed like it was kind of hard to get things to stick together. I mean, this clutch was really amazing, but it required some force. These seem to be just a little bit softer, a little bit more like Lego. And if it wasn't for the lack of Lego on the stud and knowing what I had done, I wouldn't have known the difference. Except they do have kind of a weird round 1x1 stud. So the 1x1 Lego stud, the round one that has the hole in the middle, these basically you've trimmed up. There's that little flange that kind of comes around it.
Yep.
Basically, that's all trimmed off on these.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, and so they use those pieces a lot, and then in kind of like Kobe and I think Fantasy did there's some elements that have anti-studs on both sides as well as studs on both sides. So they do some interesting stud reversal in this.
I think that's a really useful brick.
Yeah, it's
like Fantasy. They have that 1x2 with studs on both sides, and you can do some neat things with that. But all right.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I was really impressed, and I still don't.
Now, did they send this to you for review, or did you pay your own money?
No, I paid for it.
Okay.
And I paid for one more as well. It's a smaller building. I don't remember what it is. It's upstairs in the closet.
Okay.
But I got them both at the same time. And then they have a one that I see on Instagram and YouTube a lot is they did a magazine stand or a newspaper stand, kind of in a Parisian style.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you've seen in my city, I have something that I built custom that kind of looks like that, a little bit smaller scale. So I've never gone for theirs. But after doing this one, I'm impressed.
So you would recommend them, is what you're saying?
Absolutely. I mean, and I don't mix the bricks. I still have little Ziploc bags of Fantasy bricks and Kobe elements and now Funhole that I write on, and I won't mix them up. I did do a couple changes to this that I didn't really like what they had done. Really small things that in a Lego set, I sort of just, if I didn't like it, I probably just would have gone with what the directions say. Mm-hmm. So I felt a little more allowed to sort of tweak it a bit. And it would be hard for people to pick up on what I had done. But one of this is on this right here at the where the stained glass window comes in. It's a stud reversal, and it's pushing it up, and it sort of pushed a gap there. So I just added a layer of plates to kind of push it back a little bit so that it wouldn't create that force. And you can't really see unless you're just sort of looking at it right here at this angle. Gotcha. And then on this one right here, they just showed the stud, and it seemed unfinished to me. So I threw a Lego ingot on there just to make it look a little better.
So you mixed the bricks?
I don't mind mixing Lego into them. I don't mix them into Lego.
But now that it's dirty, it never comes back to the collection.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's
it's sullied.
Yeah, it's solid. I like that.
It's so funny because, before I started doing the fantasy bricks, it was like, oh, no, I can't. I'm not interested in any of those. But then I've built some, and it's like, these are actually pretty good. But I still don't mix the bricks.
Right. So. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
It's funny. So
the sun was so bright before, and now it's kind of gone away.
All right. So that's a cool build. How much was that? Just out of curiosity, if you don't mind me asking, was it cheaper than Lego? I'm going to assume.
I don't remember. Let's see here. I actually opened it up on a browser here. On the Funhole website, it says it's $160. So yeah, I mean that's definitely cheaper than Lego, especially with the light kit.
Yeah, well, because a modular, you're looking at $229 now, right? So, right. And it's about the same scale. It appeared.
Oh yeah, and I've not held it up yet against it. I mean, literally, I was trying to get this thing finished last night, and when I woke up this morning for it now. So there's actually a few details on the inside that I still need to go back and do. But yeah, I mean, I remember I bought this one and another one. I think I might have had a Amazon discount to get them both.
Yeah. So yeah, that happens a lot, with Fantasy and some of the others. So, I mean, that's, I think, where they're making inroads. They've got great products and a lot more affordable.
This looks better in person than I thought it did from the pictures.
Okay. Well, I saw your picture, like I said, just probably a half hour before we got on here. I was looking on Instagram and saw it. And I mean, it jumped out at me. I was like, is this a mock? I didn't, because I don't think it was called out in your post.
Yeah, I done a few over time that I was doing it, I think, and probably forgot on the later ones. Not a mock. I would be proud of it if it was.
Yeah, well, yeah, I definitely would too, because it looks impressive. So, all right. Well, that is awesome. Now, you briefly touched on that you had gone to Brick World Grand Rapids, and I think you displayed there, if I remember correctly.
I did, and in fact, I have not put this stuff back yet. I brought the boxes and threw them upstairs, and was going to get to that this weekend, but never did.
Yeah, I still have a box over there with all my Oswald vignettes because I don't know where I'm going to store them. I mean, when I made that big tower, it's like, well, I don't know. But now, was this your first time ever displaying at a show?
Kind of. So there was a Maker Fest here in Houghton that I was the only Lego person there. And so, I mean, but people had, woodworking and crafts and textiles, 3D printing, etc. And so I had pulled some stuff out and exhibited there. So kind of, but not really. This is only the second time I've been to a Lego convention, and the first time I've exhibited a Lego convention.
Okay. What was the other one you went to?
I think it's been a while, and I can't remember. It was in Raleigh, North Carolina. I think it was Brick Fest.
Okay.
But
okay, and those are a little different from what
they're a little different. Yeah.
We have one coming here in December, and trying to decide if I'm going to go check it out or not. I've really got mixed messages of it's horrible to it's really great. So
was not really great. It wasn't horrible either, and Max was really young then, so that was probably 2015. So he was probably 5 or 6.
okay,
and so it was perfect for him.
okay, yeah, and that's kind of what it was Tim from Brickmaster,
Okay.
or Lego Masters that was he was talking about them, and he said if you go with the right expectations, it can be enjoyable. He said it's not the same as Brick Slopes where it's old people who've made these amazing mocks. It's
Right.
It's really geared more towards kids, and a lot of the events are focused around them.
And I met the other Tim at
That's right. I did see your picture.
Brick World, yeah, Grand Rapids.
That's right.
Yeah, he has family in the area. He was super nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I exhibited. I basically pulled out my park area.
Okay.
And my large hotel, which I call the Imperial Hotel, just because I can reuse the tile from the architecture set. And then I had a row of modulars, and all of the modulars were mocks except for I had Sanctum Sanctorum in there, just because I needed to fill the gap. And then I have
that's not a modular, I mean, that's what they tell us.
Okay. And then I had I have a mock of our house in North Carolina, actually, or heavily inspired by that. And so
Okay.
the house, the hotel, the park, and then a row of modulars behind it. And I was going to try to, base plate it all together and have roads and everything. I thought that just seemed way too much work. So everything was there was little faux road, just sort of two little base plates off on the side of the park. But basically everything else I just had. You had to use your imagination, so it made it easier for me to transport everything and set up. And then I had built is a strong word. I'd cut a piece of plywood and put some guardrails on it, and then had some clamps to hold the park down on it, and then put everything else in boxes, and was able to drive it in my small hatchback. It worked fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was really worried about the logistics, and I could have. When I was there, I was wishing I would have brought up my Grand Central Station and maybe one or two other mocks I have.
Okay. Now, your city, is it all mills plated?
No, everything I have is on old school road plates.
Just on the base. Okay. Yeah.
And not the oldest school, not the light bluish gray, but mine are all in the dark bluish gray.
Okay.
And you can't get them now, but there's a brand, off-market brand on Amazon. It starts with an F. I forget what it's called. They make really good base plates. They have good clutch, and they're actually printed better than the Lego ones ever were.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're cheap. So I mean, you can get they're $5-6 a piece or something, and you can get tees and straights and curves, and so almost all of my base plates. I've gotten rid of almost all the Lego ones at this point.
Okay. Yeah, and I can see while you were talking about moving them. That's my favorite part of mills plating is actually I can move my modulars very easily, but without that, it's got that flexy base.
A little flimsy, yeah. And I tile over everything so much so that for me to move anything, it takes a huge amount of untiled, getting rid of tiles and stuff. So
yeah. No, I understand that, and I mean I understand why people don't like Alex. His biggest thing is the time and the cost that it would take to redo all of his city, and I get that. I'm not saying that's not a valid argument, but
time and cost. I like the look of it better. I don't like the new Lego. I don't like it as much. The new Lego road plates or road, whatever they're called. And I really don't like the lack of curves.
Yeah, that's what Alex complains about. But the problem I will say that the curves have, because I had, I still have the ones from when I was a kid. It's the same issue you have with trains is you've got a bunch of dead space that's hard to fill. Or can be.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because you're dealing with rounds in a square environment. And that's why the T's and the 90-degree angles, they just work better for Lego, frankly.
So one thing that I've done in a couple of my spots couple of spots where there's curves on the outside of the curve is take 2x1 plates, the rounded ones with the holes in the studs, the relatively new element, and so you can make those you can put curvature on them, and so you make a right triangle, but this is sort of curved, so it's not a triangle anymore, but it's, and so and then you just throw flowers and trees and things in it, so it makes a nice little park-like feature in that space.
Yeah, these are the struggles we deal with. This and, being excited about our new shelves. So.
Before we get to that, this the lights here. I have wanted to do lights for a long time, and I just haven't.
Yeah.
And I'm so impressed by this that if I decide to do that, then I may have to rethink it and go towards mills.
And that's the one thing, I was able to add them. I haven't lit my whole city, but I have this, big segment. I don't know if you can see it right there. It's probably not showing up very well, but, I have like 6 modulars that are all on one circuit, and they look really good, when the lights are down and,
Brick World does the Friday night thing where they have the lights in the last 15 minutes of the hour.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Is that what they did at Grand Rapids? Because I was there for Chicago when they did it. So.
Yeah, I think they kind of follow the same script, just on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
So they had these couple different, the Voltive lights, the sort of candles, but LEDs, and then they had these real small sort of spherical LED lights, and sort of dropped them in there to sort of light it up if you didn't have lights. Okay. And it looked like crap compared to the people who had proper lighting sets. So I was feeling a little embarrassed when the lights are down. But it
is cheaper and easier to install.
It was cheaper. Yeah, it was cheaper, and you could tell.
Yeah. So while we're on that lighting topic, on the fun hole set, is it modular, I assume? And is it able to come apart with the light feature, or is it wired in a way that...
So they come. Oops! I just lost the part. Yeah. But yes, they come apart, and so
does it have like the magnetic connectors or a plug thing?
They just create a. It's not a. Yeah, it's just there's a piece of copper right there that's got an adhesive back, and then you can see that the circuit's finished by those little pieces right there, and they connect down onto it.
Okay.
And so, yeah, they come apart pretty easily. Although the clutch on that right there wasn't as strong as maybe it should have been.
Uh-oh. Well, I'm sorry you broke your thing live on the recorded video. Or at least we hope it's recorded.
It's fixed. Hang on a second. I'm going to try to turn this light on, see if I can.
Okay.
That help?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, that works.
There we go. All right. So anything else exciting happen at the Brick World?
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of a big deal now. So someone like, hey, you were on breaking news, weren't you? And my head exploded. But it was kind of cool. A couple people I did know me from Instagram, but that was but I got the fact that I got recognized. So then I had to email you and Alex to tell
we
you
were cracking up about that. That was a funny story when you emailed us. I'm like, oh geez. And I wonder if he's trying to tell us we owe him money or for damages or something. So
it's a small community.
That is true. Yeah. It is true. All right. Did you want to go to the shelf, or should we just skip that?
Hey, so I was pretty excited. I had run out of space, and I put some shelves in some creative spaces.
You'd run out of what?
You're not going to get me to say it.
Space.
There you go. You can splice in and out.
We got to have at least one episode, or one per episode. So,
but I had put some shelves in some pretty creative locations to create some more shelf space. And so, yeah, I was proud of that and put a pic on it, Instagram, and then got made fun of for bragging about my new shelves. But I can live with that.
Well, and I thought it was funny because you commented that that was the wrong episode to listen to with your wife. That was my favorite part about that story.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, seriously, anyone that's a true AFOL knows like the struggle you have, right? I mean, early on, it's great. You're building stuff, your city's growing, and then all of a sudden, wait, I have a modular and I don't have somewhere to put it. You know, so everyone knows, and it's, well, if I stack this and I move this over just a little bit, and you know, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. I have been sort of editing my purchasing a little bit, right? I've been trying to purchase a little less, as a lot of people are right now. You know, Jabo is, you and Alex. Although when Alex says that, I always roll my eyes. But it's interesting. I've been watching a couple new YouTubers, and don't ask me who they are, but I've just watched them a couple times, and they're in that new phase where they have all this huge amount of space they're trying to fill in.
Yep.
And pretty soon they're going to be to that point where like, oh crap,
Yep.
This has got to go away so other stuff can get in. So we've all gone through that.
Well, and you understand, I mean, you've got this big table and it doesn't look impressive with two buildings on it. You've got to fill that sucker up. You need a city like everyone else, but before you know it, you know, it's like,
and you want to show it to your family and your friends and, you know, the neighborhood kids and
Instagram.
Yeah. And Instagram. You want to be a big deal too.
You get excited when 3 people like it, you know, all those things.
Yeah. Right.
So we've all been through that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. There's a few new Lego news things. We can talk about some news. It is breaking news after all. So there's rumors about the new modular that's going to be coming out. I haven't heard a release date. I'm guessing it'll probably be around December 1st, like we saw last year.
Lego usually doesn't. I mean, when they make a move, they kind of stick with it. So I'm assuming that's going to be the case.
They usually do, unless they don't. Right? I mean, that's, like, I think about like the Star Wars box art.
That's true.
Like,
yeah.
You know, they change it and it's good for 2 years, and then all of a sudden, no, we're not doing that. Like, it's I don't know. But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it will be. I'm curious if they really saw a bump overall, or did they really sell the same number of modulars that they did when they were selling them on January 1st, right? I mean, we'll never know, but I don't know.
My sense is people who want a modular are going to get a modular.
Yeah.
Regardless of when it comes out.
Yep. Now, I don't have it yet. I'm going to get it, but I don't have it yet. I don't have anywhere to put it, so I haven't had an urgency. The newest one, the museum.
Oh.
I just don't have somewhere to put it, so I'm not like, you know, I'll get it in the next year or two. You know, that's kind of how I've been. But now it's been a year, so I'm thinking, maybe see what the fourth quarter deals are, and maybe
modulars are the only day one purchase for me.
Yeah.
And every year and actually of the museum I bought 2 of them, so I bought one, then I needed to make the back parallel the front, so I bought another one a few months later.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So when you walk into my Lego room, where the Lego City is,
yep,
there's a mod of the Friends Botanical Garden, and right next to it is the museum, and all you see is that ugly green backside.
Okay.
Because the museum's facing into the city. So I basically just mirrored it. Had to tweak the inside a little bit and change a few things. I lost the office and the little laboratory inside, but the outside looks the same on both sides now.
So you basically just have the same front of the building on both sides.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the interior is just the same. You didn't like stack it higher or anything.
No, I didn't do it. You know, so the dimensions are all exactly the same.
Okay.
Footprint's the same. Just parallel mirrored it, and I dressed up the sides a little bit too, just because they were pretty plain as well, but not to the same level as the front and back.
So now, did you just buy the extra parts, or did you buy a second modular?
I bought a second modular, and then Do you remember? Do you remember the mock I did that was sort of off grid that had sort of the negative space corner, had blue and green, it had a
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So all those green pieces were from that.
Okay.
So I end up using the elements, and buying a set's not a horrible way of getting elements.
Yeah. No, for sure. It depends on the set, of course.
Right.
You know, some are much better.
I'm not going to buy Star Wars sets for elements. That's for sure.
Well, if you need gray, do that. Okay. And you know, I'm not saying I've never done this before, but only a true Lego fan, would buy a second set just to make one little part of it on their first set.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah. You know, I bought a second upscaled minifig for the interior of my Oswald, and I think the shorts are the same. Everything else is you know, I went and got the parts for it. So I'm not saying I'm not, but you know, you've got a problem when that's how you justify it. So, all right. So the new modular they have announced that's coming out is going to be
a residential building,
like townhouses. I think
something along those lines. Yeah,
like row houses, maybe like I mean, they haven't said really kind of what the architecture style is, I guess. So if it's going to be like a, you know, San Francisco row house, or you know,
I've seen some people showing images of San Francisco row houses. I heard someone talking about maybe a Victorian house. I mean, I think people are kind of just grasping at straws at this point.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? I mean, we haven't seen it, so I mean, aside from that, but the concept of what it is that something that excites you?
So I remember when we have gotten leaks in the past. Okay, great. A police station, a diner, you know, and every time a fire station. And the fire station's an okay set. I mean, it was great back then when it came out, but
yeah,
I mean, I found that my emotional response to hearing what it's going to be doesn't usually reflect how I end up feeling about it.
Okay, so I think that's fair.
The diner, which I thought was kind of a crazy idea when I first heard it, is one of my favorite sets. It's just so different.
I like that one.
The 15-year set, the town square,
Assembly Square.
Yeah. When even when the images first dropped on that one, when I first saw it, I loved it. And now it's still in the city. I like it, but it's, you know, I would not rank it in my top 5. So yeah, I'll wait till I see it before I give you a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, and I mean, that's there you go. I mean, that's the caveat, right? We haven't seen it,
right?
But you know, the thought I have is there's a couple things. Number one, if you're one of these people that's trying to expand your city and really grow it, I could see something like that actually being something you'd look forward to, because you can have 2-3 sets and really kind of row those houses out. You know, maybe you color swap a little bit here or there to mix it up. But
people who do that for the second half of the bookstore one, right? So there's that little that blue house and the color swap it. That looks fantastic.
Yeah. So you know, I'm not saying it doesn't have its place, but I think you know, the way I look at it, my initial thought is like, oh, yet another miss on what I'm really wanting.
What are you really wanting?
The things I want, there's really 2 main ones that I think you need in the city, and they just have never made. And I want to acknowledge, I understand why they probably haven't done it, but I would like to see a hospital and I'd like to see a school. Now, you probably can't put those in a 32 by 32 base plate and do it reasonable, but could you get it in a 48? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. Those are the things. And I've heard other people talk about a post office. I think that could be something that would be good, you know, but it's like, it seems like every year it's usually just some little business with residential space above it.
Right.
Or there's a boxing gym with a recording studio above it, because that makes sense.
but that's a cool. I love that set though.
No, so do I. But just some of their choices
Yeah.
just don't make sense to me. That you've got a diner with a boxing gym above it and a recording studio.
Well, every third mock that I make, the base floor is a cafe or a bakery. I mean, just because I have all the elements and it's easy to do, and it's sort of it's my comfort zone, I guess. So we all make decisions based on things other than what everyone else is wanting.
Yep. So I don't know. Those were my thoughts. Now, one other thing you had mentioned, you said that you have a botanical garden in your city. Is that based? Did you take the Friends Botanical Garden, like two of those, and make one of those modulars? Oh well. Way to overachieve.
Yeah. Well, again, it was a cheap way of getting elements.
Yep.
And I actually found a gift card from when I left my last job that was like approaching being 2 years old, that I had this money that I didn't realize. So I just spent it all on those guys.
That's funny.
Which you can justify then, right? And mine is it's got the two wings and then the short little wing out. I take that back. It's got three wings and then the short little wing, so it's going out in all directions. Okay. But I only have one of the domes. With four, you could actually have two of the domes because each set has half a dome.
Half a dome, yep.
But I just have the one dome. And the one thing that I'm really proud about mine, and I've only seen on mine, is that I really hate the curved glass, clear, transparent clear glass that they have on it. And so what I did is similar to the way they did in the brick bank, is they use sand green skylights. The sand green 1 by 2 by 3 windows. And so you use hinge plates and you can have a straight area and then a curved area down on each side. And so that sand green sort of flash that you see around the windows on the base, you also see in the skylights. And that makes it look really, really good.
Okay. Yeah, no, that sounds nice. How big is yours? Is yours it's not in a 32 by 32 base plate, I'm going to guess then, is it?
Yeah, it's on a 32 by 32.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It does not extend beyond that.
Okay. Well, I bring this up because evidently there's a new Lego Ideas set coming out on November 1st. It's going to be the largest Ideas set of 2020.
The Botanical Gardens, right?
The Botanical Garden.
Yeah.
So do you have qualms about putting a second Botanical Garden in your city? I guess would be the first thing I'd ask you.
I don't have space. I have space for one more set. And my Apple store is going to have to go out so I can drop in the corner, whatever it is this year.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of the original
submission.
Yeah, it was probably more true to life. I mean, the Friends set was kind of cutesy and small, but I don't for some reason I really liked it. So I don't know.
Did you keep the mini dolls?
No.
Okay. Just wanted to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a Sterilite container where all the mini doll stuff goes into. Yeah, I probably will skip that set. It's getting expensive, right? With the designer program, Brooklyn designer program, and maybe we're going to get the X Mansion as well. Well, we are going to get the X Mansion, and maybe it'll be something I want to get as well. So
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, I know you have your big city, like that's the main thing we see on Instagram. Are there other themes you collect, or you mainly just stick to things you can put in your city?
I owned every set of Galaxy Squad. Or is it Galaxy? Yeah, Galaxy. So space sets from what was that? 2000, late 2000s.
Yeah.
To the knots.
Yep.
I do collect some Star Wars. I've been collecting the MIDI scales just because they're kind of cool and they're easy to display.
Yeah, they don't take up as much room for sure.
Yeah.
But you're not a UCS guy?
I have one UCS set, and my son has the what's the name of that big dark red and gray Star Destroyer? The
Venator?
What?
The Venator?
Yeah, the Venator.
Okay.
Max has got the Venator, but I have the Sandcrawler that I got from a.
Well, you have the Sandcrawler. That one's, what is that, 10 or 12 years old now at this point, isn't it?
It was a damaged box, and I got a huge amount of Lego VIP points, which they were VIP points back then.
They still are to me.
Yeah. The main thing that I do collect, though, is I do really love the architecture sets.
Okay.
And I have a lot of the architecture sets going a ways back.
Now, is that mostly the skylines, or?
I have a couple of the skylines. I'm less. I like the buildings.
Okay, so like the White House and the.
I don't have the White House, but I have Farnsworth House. I have the Imperial Hotel. I have Notre Dame. I have the Roby House is on my bucket list. I mean, that's kind of a white whale. I didn't buy it when it came out.
Yeah, we all have those.
Yeah,
that we should have, woulda, coulda, kind of thing.
And the last thing I do get I buy a lot of ideas sets. Starry Night, Typewriter, Jazz Quartet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I love the fact that Lego is sort of crowdsourcing ideas, and you can get new things that you would never think of that they would not have thought of otherwise.
Okay. And then you mentioned, yeah, we can talk about that in a second, but I want to follow up on something you said, because you had mentioned the BDP a little bit earlier. Do you collect those as well? I have Studgate Station from before the BDP. So that was during the trial period.
Yeah, right? Whatever. Yeah. And I ordered, and I can't keep track of the series. I ordered Brett Cross Station. So now I have a third large train station. When do we get them? In 6 months or so? 3, whatever.
It's probably going to be sooner than we think.
Yeah. So I'm getting that one. And the designer of that one had designed something slightly different before that. And so he's an amazing designer. I forget his name. But that was something I was aware of that he had been working on for some time. And when it became available on the BDP, whatever series this is, I did sort of set the alarm to get up so I could order it right away on that day. And I got the Mushroom House as well, just because I actually kind of liked it. It was cheap. So
okay.
But those are the only ones I have ordered. I'm not a big castle guy. Yeah. I ordered the Transylvania Castle, whatever it's called.
Well, you didn't order it yet. You will be ordering it.
Is it not been out yet?
Yeah,
okay. I've not ordered it yet. I've not ordered it. I will be ordering it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I was gonna say you must have Alex type connection.
No. Yeah, I will be ordering it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we interviewed Alex, not Alex.
Right. The BDP
from the Bricklink program. He said that that's been by far the most upvoted of any of their builds that have been submitted. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how quickly it sells out.
Yeah.
Let's see. You asked me if there was anything I collect.
So I know you have a lot of Star Wars. You have all the Indiana Jones, or nearly all the Indiana Jones.
Well, I do have all of the Indiana Jones. I'm now actually going back. You can see them right there. I'm going back and trying to get them in sealed boxes.
Okay.
So I've got those. I do have a lot of Star Wars. That's one thing I've kind of been rethinking, like my approach on those. Some of it has to do with, number one, I just don't have room for everything. And so I'm thinking I may, well, and it's not just with Star Wars. It's really been with all my Lego purchases this summer. I've really tried to be a lot more deliberate on what I'm buying. in the past it was like, oh, this is a great deal, and I would buy it, or this kind of thing. And I've kind of tried to shy away from doing that kind of stuff. There's that Oswald build.
Those are fantastic. I mean, well, that Oswald build is cool. The little vignettes that you did, I love those.
Yeah, I mean, that's really been the majority of my personal purchases as I was, trying to get those done for Brick Slopes. It's one of those things where I started and then, you kind of take a break, and then it's like, oh man, it's a month away and I still got to make, 18 of these things. So yeah, I was happy with it. I think it turned out really good.
And Tanya, she collects the botanicals, is that right?
So yeah, she likes all of the botanicals. Have you seen the new poinsettia that was?
Yeah, and there's a new wreath which has got some pretty cool elements in it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it was either last night or the night before, she found a picture of the poinsettia. She hadn't seen it yet.
Okay.
And she was telling me like, oh, we're getting this. I love it. So she's very excited. We'll be getting that one definitely. Yeah, she collects the botanicals. She also collects the winter village sets that come out every year. And I think those are always pretty good builds, and they're, compared to a lot of the things, I think they're a fair value.
Yeah.
But
$100 again this year.
Yep. They're consistent, but I think some of that has to do with, they don't actually have to pay Santa a licensing fee, right?
And I'm assuming, and I've never heard anyone say this, but I'm assuming, and for sure never Lego. So this is just coming from me. They seem like a goodwill purchase, right? I mean, they bring good warm feelings to people to buy them. So if they can make them a little bit more accessible, then maybe it becomes a little bit more brand loyalty to Lego.
Yeah, that could be. I think it's just, there's a lot of people. I know not everyone enjoys Christmas or even celebrates it. I get that. But there's a lot of people, that's a special time for them. I my sister-in-law, she wants to put up her Christmas tree, I think in July every year, and there are those people out there that just love it. And, so.
Well, ritual is important.
Yep.
So I have most of them. I don't have all of them. I don't have the original post office.
Okay.
And I don't have the original little carousel, which was a tiny little carousel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't have the train. And I think I have all the others.
Okay. Yeah, we have, a lot of the recent ones. And I mean, the last 7-8 years. Before that, I know my daughter had got one, and this was probably 12 years ago. It was like with a bakery and a ice skating thing. I can't remember. Yeah. We've got most of the parts. I have to scavenge them all to put it back together kind of thing. But, but some of those early ones, my wife just wasn't into Lego like she is now, but, and the other thing she collects is Harry Potter.
Oh, right.
But even that is interesting because I find she's, kind of like me with Star Wars, some of the things she's like, I don't know.
Well, when they've done Hagrid's Hut, 4 times, 5 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The one she talks about is the Great Hall. She's like, the one that came out is great. I would like it, but I already have 3. What am I going to do with another one? Yeah. Right. So all good questions, but all right. Shall we use our paddles here? Should I use the old one or the new one?
I like the old one, but I don't deal with
I'll do the old one. I'll do the old one. So this is something. So I recorded the episode with Jabo, and some of the things we'll talk about here, they're going to be, kind of similar. But this is something I actually saw yesterday. There was another YouTuber, and I cannot remember who it was, so I apologize. I would have given credit if I could find it. But they had a video, and that's what I'm going to use the title of their video as the statement, and then you'll say whether you agree with it or disagree. And then I'll kind of give some of their perspective, and we can kind of share what we think about it. So the statement is, adult fans are ruining Lego.
You ready?
Ready. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So go ahead and share what, if you will. And a lot of times with these statements, it's not a definite hard yes or hard no. And this is one of those things, I think. But some of the points he made, I'm like, yeah, he's totally spot on.
It's a different hobby
Mhm.
for an adult than it is for a kid. And
Yep.
when I was there this summer, we talked about even different for an adolescent or a teenager, right?
Yep.
It evolves.
Well, and it's also different. Like if you think back, like you said, if you go back 5 years, you probably were collecting differently than you are now.
Right.
You said you're being more deliberate in what you're buying and that kind of stuff. So it's like anything, it's going to change.
It personally changes and changes, from Lego as they create new elements, create new products. If it weren't for AFOLs, we wouldn't have botanicals. We wouldn't have really the architecture line. We probably wouldn't have the modulars, although some kids get modulars, but that's an expensive toy for a kid.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that Lego produces, which a lot of us want because of us, right? And so, and I always roll my eyes and get kind of frustrated when adults get mad about Duplo, or they get mad about, well, why'd they do this in play scale? Because kids, they are a toy company, and kids need Lego products too. But I don't think that adults, there is this, issues about aftermarket and price gouging, but that's not Lego. That's something Lego adjacent.
Yeah.
So that's my sort of poorly thought through argument.
Well, so the points that he made in this video, the first one, he was talking about the resale market. It used to be you could go to the store after Christmas and you could buy stuff on clearance, and I hear Jabo and all these people talk about, it's 80% off, and I was getting all of these things. Those days are generally done, right? I mean, if you find 50% off, that's a great deal anymore, at least around here. I mean, I guess Earl at the Dirt Cheap or whatever is a different deal, but, so he says, people are buying these not to build, they're buying them as an investment or to resell. And, in a lot of ways, I don't think we're seeing the appreciation like we were 5-10 years ago, because there's more people in that market holding them. So there's all these people, and I'm one of them. I've got a bunch of sealed sets in my basement, and they're not really worth a lot more than they were at the time. Maybe they're even less because, they came out with a new, I don't know, Harry Potter night bus. So that was.
Let me jump in here on that one. People, we can cherry pick the data and say, hey, if you invested in Lego, it outperformed gold or my 401k.
Yep.
But if people really want to invest for the future, they will put it into a diversified index fund and park that money there. And so some of the reason people invest in Lego is because they get joy out of buying it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it has appreciated significantly.
Yep.
And if you cherry pick which sets you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so there is a personal preference part there that when we talk about Lego investing can't be overlooked. And if I was trying to invest money for my long-term financial health, you try to divorce that sort of immediate gratification from that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I understand that. I mean, but if you think about like the BDP, for example, especially when they were only doing the 10,000, they were the last time they had those, they sold out like in 5 minutes, right? And there were many people buying them just to flip them. We saw that with Series 1 with the castle.
Right. It was on eBay.
It was on eBay that afternoon, even though per eBay's rules, they were well before the pre-order dates. But, now those prices have kind of come back to really what the retail price was, because that FOMO has subsided, I guess. So that was one of the points he made. Another one he made was that we're not getting as many original Lego themes. Everything is tied to like proven IPs and stuff like that, and the few that we get, like Dreams, a lot of, and I can't say Alex and I haven't, been like, what do we got that, or Friends, it's a toy. It's for kids. And, because they're putting efforts and resources there, that's taking away from some of those things. They occasionally will throw out a knights or a castle, a pirate, gift with purchase, whatever. But a lot of those end up in ideas or icons.
But that's not the AFOLs either, right? The kids want the Star Wars sets. The last time Lego did a branded, well, they have a Lego City Space theme now, right? And I don't know how those sets are selling, but my expectation, my belief is that they're not selling as well as Star Wars sets, even to kids. I mean, kids are drawn to that. I mean, I get the point. I wish they would do an Old West again. The Knight sets are, I don't collect the castle sets, but I always looked at them as a kid in the catalog, the old yellow castle, etc.
Yep.
But I don't think blaming just the adults, and I feel like I'm trying to stand up for old people here. That seems a little too simple of thinking for me.
All right. I thought it was, an interesting point he had brought up. Like I said, I don't think it's as cut and dry,
Right.
Kind of to your point. But anyway, let's see.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, and kind of to the first part, because we see this a lot, right? Like, what was this set? The some of those San Diego Comic-Con sets from 2020 that they ended up, like the Star Wars one with the Bespin duel.
Okay, I don't keep track of any of those.
Anyways, there was some of these sets. They were going to be Comic-Con exclusives, and they ended up not having Comic-Con, so they had to come up with a different way to distribute them.
Okay.
And then, there was that and the Nebulon B frigate. And people were upset because, well, they couldn't get it. And, I think that is something we see kind of on a wider scale across the toy industry. It's not just Lego. It's, people that were kids that were fans of Star Wars or whatever it is. And now they have disposable incomes and they're buying these things, But you see the same thing with sneakers, like
right, yeah.
Air Jordans and this kind of stuff. And, that's part of the struggle, I guess. They can't make enough for everybody, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there is some merit there.
Yeah. And the other one he was talking about, what kind of fed into those, he said, is the cost, because that is the one complaint we hear constantly. And he said the problem is we have adults who have disposable income and they buy all this stuff. They don't wait till it goes on sale. And so now, that's why we don't have those 80% off deals. And
Lego has always been expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And my guess is Lego. So my guess, and here's a second guess that is not backed up by any facts, is that yes, some of the lack of deals are, increased demand and people buying them to flip. But also, I bet Lego has gotten better at projecting what actually is going to sell and what their markets are going to be. And so, I don't know how much just-in-time manufacturing they do, but my sense is that they are probably figured out how to eliminate some waste as well.
And yet we still end up with things like the half soccer field.
Yeah, it's good.
And the foosball table.
Yeah.
So they haven't totally figured out how to eliminate the waste.
No, it's true. Yeah.
Anyways. All right. Well, shall we take a minute and do the thing? Let's do the thing.
Old guy. New shirt.
Okay, so we have a collection of 8 shirts today. Now the first one, he is wearing a Falcons jersey. And this was I don't know if you saw this video. This is one where he was talking about that Star Wars book. Are you familiar with this book that
I am.
a lot of people complained about because it was like $150? And basically the point of the video was, yeah, you shouldn't buy this.
Yeah.
It was things I shouldn't buy. The next one we have.
The cars. What's Francesco? Whatever his name was.
Yeah, Bertoloni or something like
Bernoulli?
that. Bernoulli, I think that might be it. Yeah. Yeah, so he's reviewing that. The shirt he's wearing there, can you guess what that's from? With the dinosaur.
Is it Vsauce or is it They Might Be Giants?
Well, you have a pretty good guess if you guess one of those two, right? It is They Might Be Giants.
Okay.
Yeah, if you zoom in on the thing around the dinosaur's neck, the key is IFC. That's the Instant Fan Club.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so he's a premier level instant fan.
Yep. And speaking of the Instant Fan Club, if you go to the next shirt, you'll see.
Oh, yeah.
It's an Instant Fan Club Executive Super Boss. He told me, I think he says he has every single one of their Instant Fan Club shirts.
Really?
There's like 75 of them or something.
Are they from the Southeast or?
I don't think so. Oh, and then that one, if you look in his hand, do you see what he's holding?
Oh, that's the car from your set.
That's the
Jeep.
Brickmasters Indiana Jones set. Yeah, from 2008. And that's the one that comes in that San Diego Comic-Con set. And then the next one,
Yeah.
we have another They Might Be Giants shirt. This one, it's funny because it's the elements. And if you look at it, it appears to be the actual periodic table.
Carbon, silicon, yeah, nitrogen. Yeah.
Because I was wondering if it had like Particle Man on there. And I don't know. Are you familiar with their music at all?
I am. Yep. Flood had heavy rotation when I was in college.
Yeah, that's got to be their most famous album.
Yeah, I would think so.
So, and I can't tell you how shocked I was when I realized that Istanbul was a cover.
Really?
I thought it was their original one.
I had no idea.
There's a group that had recorded it like in the 50s.
Wow.
Yeah, you'll have to go out and look at it because it'll blow your mind.
Okay. Yeah,
It doesn't sound right. It's on YouTube, so
it sounds just like me. Well, that song has their style and yeah.
Yeah. That's why I thought it was original. So you learn new things all the time. Next, we have Houston. We have a problem.
Spaceship.
It was funny. I asked, I said, did you get that? He's like, I don't remember. Someone, I think, sent it to me. He couldn't remember. And now I can't remember what he was talking about in that video. And that's the other part that's funny is he told me that sometimes he struggles to remember what the video was about.
How many videos has he done? Does he have a rough idea?
Ever?
Yeah.
Oh, it's thousands. I don't
think
know.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to do 366 this year alone just on this channel because he has multiple channels.
Right, right. The trains and yeah.
Yeah. And just his Jabo channel and his Yoda translator channel.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that one. The sarcasm is strong with this one. Yeah, he does like that shirt. That was the one, I think that was where he had built that Lucas fountain.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you saw that video. So one of the Lucasfilm employee exclusives, they have a fountain out front of, I don't know, wherever it is, Skywalker Ranch or whatever. And it's got Yoda and on this fountain. They did a brick-built version of that. And it was this exclusive thing. And evidently in that book that we saw just a little bit ago, the instructions were in there. And so, he went and had built that and he wasn't happy with it.
It looked a little flimsy.
Yeah, there was problems with it, and there were a few other things we talked about because, like, I think it's the Yoda isn't the same one that was in the Lucas,
Right.
and it's like, why? I don't know why they got to do some of these things, but whatever. Next, do you know what that is?
I don't want to be a pirate.
There you go. That's one thing. He's like, some people might not get that reference. I said, I get it. I know exactly where it's from.
If you're watching this show, you probably get it.
Yep. The low speaker. So I will say, quick Seinfeld story. I went to school on a study abroad in Germany back in 98. And so I was there, and, you watch German TV because that's what's in the dorm. And, it was funny because they had all these American shows. The Simpsons were there, whatever. And that was funny because the Simpsons, they were all dubbed except for the songs.
Oh.
English, which was really weird. But Seinfeld was on. And someone there, one of the Germans told me, he's like, yeah, it's not really popular here. And I watched it and I didn't think it was funny. And I guess it just didn't translate. I don't know. It's one of those things. But I can't remember what this video was about. I know he recently did one with Sig Figs, but I don't think that's in this box.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I remember the shirt. I don't remember what it was about.
Yep. And then the last one we have is a
brag shirt.
Yep. Evidently, he was big into bike riding.
Yeah.
He has a number of those shirts and did that bike ride across Georgia a few times. So, anyways. So, there you go. There is your episode of Old Guy.
New shirt.
All right. Let's see. We have a poll we can quickly discuss. You can give your thoughts on it here. Now, this one's from a couple weeks ago. And the question was, when do you normally watch breaking news? We have 192 votes, so we've got a good sampling. The options were the day it drops, within the week of it being posted, eventually, I watch episodes occasionally, or I have never watched breaking news.
I felt guilty last week because I was watching. I mean, I didn't get to it until the next day. Guilty is the wrong word, but normal. I watch it the day it drops.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Well, the vast majority of people are within those first two. 36% are within the week of being posted, and 33% are the day it drops.
33 and 36, you said?
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, 10% say eventually. 16% say I watch episodes occasionally. And Jabo and I talked about this when we recorded. I think this part tickled him the most. 4% said I never watch breaking news.
How did they get the poll?
Well, they must be subscribed to my channel somehow. I don't know.
Okay.
But with 192 votes, that would tell me there are 4 people that voted that haven't watched it. Which makes me laugh. We need to hunt those folks down. So they're not going to watch and know that we're talking about them right now, so it's okay.
Here we go.
Let's see. We have a few comments about this. Let's see what they say here. Skater Dude 161,000 says, I always listen to breaking news when I'm building Lego or building on my city. That's what a lot of people say, that they listen. So if you're listening right now, let us know. Bricks on an Island. I try to watch breaking news ASAP, but I often can't make it on the first day. I get it. It's hard. The problem is, I think if you don't watch it or listen to it, I guess whichever way, that first week, I think it gets hard to catch up. So, Jamie Clavel says, little behind. Like to see you guys interact. I can't get used to just listening in podcasts. It's like a treat for me and the kids. Drop by and then go. It's true pleasure. Thanks for the hard work. Well, mostly the other guy. Haha. Mike Conley. It depends when it drops, but usually I watch it on my lunch the day of or the day after. I think it usually drops the same time, except for like the 2 times we've had technical issues. But Mimi Dawn do Lego. We try our best to watch it the day it drops, but if we can't, we definitely watch it the same week. Battery Power Bricks recently got like 5 episodes behind, but I'm finally caught back up. Usually watch them within the week, and that's the way to do it.
I don't follow his YouTube channel very closely. I think I'm subscribed, but he was on the A-Full podcast recently. He's a sharp guy.
I was gonna say he's very smart, and like the stuff that he does, and I watch his videos. I'm like, I don't know how you know, because he like programs these things or rewires things. I'm like, yeah, I put bricks together, man, and I hope it looks okay. I'm not that good.
Well, for me, I use computers. I mean, I lead a college computing, and computing is everything that I do professionally. So I like the old school analog aspects of physical bricks, and don't use digital design software or anything.
I was going to ask you that when you started talking about computers, because
no, I have purposely never used it because I don't find it as allows me to get away from what I'm normally doing and sitting in front of a computer.
Yep.
But I may have to go into the electronics piece. I'm not sure I'm going to go. I won't go into digital design, but I am loving the lights on these things.
I've enjoyed it. It's an interesting, this one it tells you how to wire it, I'm assuming. So it's a little different.
Much easier.
I've done, the ones I've used are Bevan's bricks.
Mm-hmm.
I like those because you can just basically buy the parts you want and light it how you want. And I think they're really good. He just makes them all and ships them out. And because some of these, I do have one lighting kit someone gave me for my Ghostbusters firehouse, but I have not actually gone around to putting it in. I pulled it out and there's a whole bunch of different parts, and I'm like, I don't know. So
Bevan, I like Joey, is a fellow Hoosier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's a few Hoosier A-Falls, myself included.
I thought he was up in Michigan.
I'm up in Michigan now. I'm pretty sure he's in Indiana.
I don't know.
If I misspoke, I'm sorry, but
maybe he was from there. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to follow everyone where they're from. The other guy too says, normally I'll watch it while I'm working on some Lego, either building or sorting. So whether it's the first time I'm doing it or after it drops. Chef Eddie, I watch immediately unless I have something else to do. Well, maybe he never watches then because he always has something else to do. Charlie Wallace, a day without breaking news is a day without sunshine. So does that mean like 6 days a week you don't have sunshine? My wife and I catch it as soon as we can on its release. Hugh O'Brien, the day of, unless it's a busy day. If not, then ASAP. Yeah, and that's kind of the way I am with like the A-Fool podcast. I used to be really good. Like I'd watch it that Friday morning, listen while I'm working or something, but it hasn't been as feasible recently at work. So Syngenator, I watch for early pre-release leaks.
Gotta be careful.
Yep. SK Young, usually the day of. Bricks in Space, I try to catch it on the day it comes out, most times successfully. You two have great chemistry. And lastly, we have Cotina Dunlap. I'm a little behind, but I always catch up eventually. So there we go.
Does YouTube have an analytic where they track sort of repeat viewers? Like, what percentage of someone who's watched something of yours come back and watch it again?
Yeah, there are metrics around those things where it'll show you, subscribers versus non-subscribers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they metric all that kind of stuff. How many times people are, if it's a first-time viewer versus
repeat viewers. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we have a community commentary,
Oh, cool.
and this one I think is well timed because it is as of the release day of this. It's October 1st. So I don't know about you. I'm not one of these people that generally thinks August is when we should start celebrating Halloween. Just like I don't think September is when we should start celebrate Christmas, or things like that. But October 1st, I think we're good. We're within the Halloween season.
Yeah.
So Joe Bowling has sent something in, and I thought we could go ahead and check that out here. All right, I have it here. So let me read his thing, and then I'll show you the video. It says, "Hi, Jason. I made a video showing all of my Lego builds that I have on display for Halloween, and I wanted to submit it for Breaking News community commentary." He says, "One of my other favorite hobbies is carving jack-o'-lanterns. So I'm also submitting a picture of a Lego-themed pumpkin carving I made today."
That's next level.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it looks like it's Benny.
Yeah.
That looks really good.
Hi, Jason and Alex. This is Joe, and I just got finished with all of my Halloween Lego building for this year, and I wanted to show off my haunted shelves. Starting here, this haunted house on the far left is actually a rebrickable mock of the Lego 3-in-1 castle. I added all the spider webs and spiders and skeletons and everything, but the main house is actually made 100% with parts that are in the 3-in-1 castle. Most of the rest of these you'll already recognize. Here, the Scooby-Doo Mystery Mansion is one of the first sets I ever bought with the intention of displaying it for Halloween, and it's still one of my favorites. Here we have some of the smaller sets. This little micro haunted mansion is made with Lego parts, but it's a kit I actually bought from another company. And this haunted house on the right is from WeBrick and came with the light kit. Over here we have some small builds like the Frankenstein brick heads and some of the other small sets that Lego has released either on their own or as gifts with purchase. The bonsai tree is my own modification using some of those spooky VIP packs. And of course the glass pumpkin is something my wife made and I think looks really good and wanted to show that off. Up here I combined this year's Halloween barn with the Halloween hayride from a few years ago with some Dungeons & Dragons minifigs along with the forest project that Julie and I have been working on and off since this spring.
And here I have the big empty shelf space where I plan to put the Nightmare Before Christmas Lego Ideas set when I get it, which I'm waiting for a good gift with purchase or double points event before that. But for now, we'll have to settle for the brick heads and the collectible minifigures of Jack and Sally.
And then finally up here, especially for Mardi Gras Man 2-3, we have the Ghostbusters Firehouse, also with the Lego Ideas Ecto 1. And then, just because it seemed appropriate to the theme of Halloween, I added the Nightmare Shark Ship from Lego Dreams. Hope you enjoyed the builds and have a great October.
So, couple thoughts. A new breaking news bit should be, everyone flex on their Ghostbusters Firehouse, right? I think we should get everyone in the world who has the Ghostbusters Firehouse to submit, just for Mardi Gras,
Just
man.
to rub it in a little bit for Earl.
I've never met any of the guys on the A-Fold podcast, but I feel like I know them. We've talked about that dynamic.
Yep.
One of his comments recently was, "Why is everyone flexing their Ghostbusters Firehouse?" And I responded, "Because we can." We also talked about, earlier we were talking about Lego, their own IP.
Yep.
And I think one of the best ones that they have done that I would love to have come back is Monster Fighters. I love the Monster Fighters. The Monster Fighters Haunted Mansion is great, but even, all the little sets are pretty cool. And the Moonstones. So do you remember the Moonstones? They were sort of they had these different color. They were transparent colors, and they corresponded to some sort of special powers of the monster fighters. I don't remember the whole backstory of them.
Yeah.
At Brick World Grand Rapids, there was a builder from I can't remember her name, but I remember she was part of the Western Michigan lug there in the Grand Rapids area. She built upscaled of the Moonstones, all of them.
Yeah.
They were about yay big. They were all lit from inside. They just looked amazing. And then when the lights went down, it was next level. It was. Those were some of the cool. That and some. They used the same format for doing the upsized minifigs they did as Care Bears. Those two things I thought were some of the coolest, beyond massive train displays and things.
Yeah.
But
wow,
anyway.
That's cool. Well, the first thought I have. So did you notice that glass pumpkin?
Yeah.
Like here we are. We put a couple little pieces of plastic together and think we've really made something. Like, you want to talk about real creativity and skill? I mean, geez. So
Glass blowings, yeah.
Yeah. And to get the different colors and the shapes. Anyways, I know that's not Lego, but I did think that was actually really impressive and glad he showed that. So, I didn't realize he was so big into Halloween. I knew he was into Star Trek and some of the other things, but I mean, clearly this is something.
It's cool. It's a great, I mean, he's individually, there are sets that might not interest me, with the exception of the Monster Fighters Haunted Mansion. But collectively, put them all together, it just looks so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the black light on some of them look pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed was the lighting, how, the greens or the purple lights, they just kind of made them pop that little bit extra, even the micro Haunted Mansion.
There you go, Joe.
There you go. Yeah. So, so we always appreciate Joe and his contributions. So another great one there.
He's been a pretty regular commenter on some of my posts on Instagram as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's part of I mean, I'm not taking credit for anything, but that's part of what's been really rewarding. Like for me, as I see people that, comment on our videos, but then I see, like Joe commenting on yours and, people looking at his stuff that he shares. And that's kind of the part that I think is really, really neat is, it makes people feel connected to other people.
I said this to you, or maybe commented recently, that, I mean, and I'm speaking beyond myself, I think is, in an accurate way, really appreciate the community that is being built here. I mean, I do feel like you're bringing people together that never would have come together otherwise through Breaking News and your site, I mean, your channel, Alex's channel, all the A-Fools. It's been great. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, it's not like this is something we're going to be able to retire on or anything like that. Like, that's not why we do it. We do it, for this kind of stuff, You find someone in Germany that's willing to help you get some stupid thing that you'd never get otherwise, I mean, and that's probably an extreme example, but I would have had no idea where I could even, where would I even start asking someone on that before?
And to eat Dr. Pepper Peeps too, right?
Well, it's funny because I was sending him some other items from what he had submitted for the Breaking News contest. And he had mentioned, I wish I could try those. So I threw them in. So, but it was a lot of fun. So, anyways, so there we go. We got some community commentary. Hope everyone enjoys fall, Halloween, pumpkin spice, whatever is your thing right now. Are you pumpkin spice or not? No? Like, are you anti or you just don't really care?
I'm not anti, but it just doesn't do much for me.
Okay. Because it's funny. It's one of those things. I know, like, my daughter, she hates pumpkin spice. Like, anything pumpkin, she doesn't want anything to do with. But
for me, pumpkin pie is just a vehicle for delivery of whipped cream.
Yeah. Just pile that whipped cream on. Yeah, sure. I know exactly what you're saying. All right. let's see. Do you have a few more minutes? Maybe we can do some comments.
Sure.
Do you want to be like Alex and roll your eyes when I say comments?
Get the show on the road here. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Like he has something else to do. Oh, that's the other thing. Have you heard the rumor that Alex is in Billund? That's what people think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've had 2 people say, they think that's why we weren't able to record or whatever. He's not.
He's not?
He's still in Utah. He's not going to Billund. But it did make me laugh. See, now the problem is, I got to make sure, because we didn't do comments when we were on Brick Slopes, and we got kind of out of sorts, and so now I'm trying to figure out which episode are we doing comments on here. Here we go. Okay, I know which one we're doing.
Which episode is this?
We're going to do it on the most recent one.
Okay.
Because Alex and I won't get back to this one, so here we go. Wow, okay. This is the other... I think, honestly, I know that's kind of a joke that we make about him being like, oh, comments. But I think part of it is, like, I just pulled it up, and this has only been, 5 days? And there's 77 comments. Like, there's a lot of comments. And so, it's hard because it's a great way to...
You don't want to miss anybody, right?
We read them all, but also, a lot of them are similar, and, I don't want people to be like, oh, here we go, just more paddle talk, or whatever. So
it was one of your videos, I think, and I saw it first, and I nearly posted first comment, but I wasn't going to be that guy.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. First up, we have Ty Novell.
Tylenol.
The Tylenol, yes. Well, just wait till the next A Fool podcast. Because we do give Earl a hard time, my wife and I. There's something that's been bugging her a long time, and anyways, I'll just throw that teaser out there.
Okay.
Anyways, Ty Novell says, first thing I saw was the gummy bears. Nice to see it return. I think this was the one where it was in the corner, and then Mindy had, pulled them away.
And you've had some
gummy bears. We're good.
Yeah.
Marty Bricks. It does happen that saving money feels like I now have extra money to spend, but my wife is always there to set me straight.
They have a way of doing that, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Chef Eddie, I think next year in 2025, Alex will finally cave in and begin Mills plates. He should also join several of the castles together to make larger ones, so his medieval area looks better. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
His medieval area looks great.
Oh yeah, it does.
And it's amazing. He's out of space. So it wasn't that long ago when he had all this space to try to fill into what we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
He's going to, I don't know, I can't recall what's behind that curtain, but that curtain's going to have to go back further so he can create some more space.
I know over there, I'm trying to think, because he's got his boxes. Like, he used to have boxes under his city, and he finally broke down and cut the seals so they weren't so that he could flatten them at least. And I because I talked him into that. I'm like, you got to get rid of some of this stuff, especially the white boxes. I'm like, well, I don't know why you're keeping the white interior boxes. No one's not going to buy a set because you don't have the white interior box. If it's like the UCS Razor Crest and it's got the art on the box, okay, that's different.
Sure.
But so that's I know those are there, but I think there's something in between, and I can't remember what it is. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Do you think he's gonna? Because we had that discussion where I encouraged him to think about Mills plating his downtown area.
I'm in the same. I mean, I'm not in the same boat he is. His city's 3 times as large as mine, or more. But it's intimidating.
Oh, I get that. I mean the cost alone, I understand. I'm not dismissing that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just, I'm thinking for him, if he's going to be able to, because you can, like I said, you can move those modulars so much easier. It's not that hard to take an existing modular and Mills plate it.
I'm not sure I buy that because it's pretty. I mean, they are a little flimsy, but you can still move them. That's never been the problem.
Okay.
The road plates. There is a lot of extra space in them, right? In the new system, you can condense down, so that's a rationale. Obviously, for wires underneath, if you're going to put lighting in it.
Yeah.
If I do it, I would probably end up doing studs not on top, where people build out this way to make roads.
Yeah. So you'd have sideways bricks.
Yeah, exactly. And that's even more expensive than buying the new Lego.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you look at someone like his German channel is called Bob Brickman. Brick Crafts, is that his?
Brick Crafts. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, his city is, to me, it's the best one out there, and his roads look great the way he does them.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have any actual sets in his city.
Right.
It's all mods, things he's built,
Well, I mean, it's got a little museum, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see. Ty Novell again. That's a good idea. Alex had to place the modulars on top of the new road. All you probably need to do is to build a curb of some sort next to the road instead. In a galaxy far, far away, the overall paddles look better, but the thumbs look better on the original paddles.
I agree with that. I think the original, yeah. I like the original ones. I think they're cute.
They're cute. Okay.
I mean that in a positive way. Yeah.
No, I know. It's just it's not generally what guys want to say to each other. It's cute.
I also admitted to liking the Acolyte, so
you're loud. It's fine. My fingers are crossed for Andor. So.
Yep, me too.
Help me, Andor. You're my only hope. Brickzar. So I'm watching, and one of the ads I got served halfway through was a Walmart ad about 25% and saying that 25% more to save on other things, as if saving 25% gives you more money. Tried it with that, y'all said earlier.
That was the wife economics or wife budgeting. Is that?
I think that's what it's talking about. Yeah. Let's see. John Vocacura. I cannot stand the new paddles. Turn them back into cutting boards and slice some cheese. Chuck's Bricks. Stay with the old paddles. I'm afraid some Lego might get broken with the new paddles. One Clever Pig. My wife, bless her, is an expert in girl math. She is the type of person to look on a phone that costs $999 and look at me and completely seriously say, it costs $900. He also says, I think you got to keep the old paddles. They're beautiful in their simplicity. Artisan paddles. Also, I thought, that's weird. Walmart sells paddles. Then I thought, pretty sure those are cheese boards. Just to clear things up, these were in the craft section. And they may or may not be charcuterie boards. Kelton Davis Lego says, I'm the stranger who stole 2 tubs of Alex's beloved 90s Lego. I assure you they are being treated with utter reverence.
He has a YouTube channel, right?
That's what Alex was saying, yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to do a review of all of them? Is that what the plan
That's
is?
what it sounds like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's check that out.
Pasta Jensen, the War of the A-Fools. I'm sure it's like the direction that is taking. It starts with paddles, and before you know it, there are atomic slingshots involved. Mimi Dawn do Lego. We're definitely going to try and get our hands on the Harbor Master's office. Might take a break in the next series after, spending more than I should have on Lego series 2.
Yeah, I've thought about that one too.
It's funny. My wife saw that one because they had built those at
Right.
Brick Slope, and my wife saw it and she's like, "I really like that one." So it'll be interesting. I think
This
those
one
are
has a
coming
collector's
out.
item on it too.
That's right. The last gas station ever.
Yeah.
I think those come out. Is it this week? I want to say
I
it's
don't
like
know.
the 8th or the
I'm
9th.
not doing a good job of tracking things.
Yeah. Mardi Gras Man, speak of the devil, says Alex was on his game today. Jason finally gets a word in at 33:12.
He was hyped up.
Yes, he was. Oh, here we go. Pasta Jensen. I followed Dr. Jabo's Miss It All treatment for several minutes, and I can now finally afford the loaf of bread that my children have cried for so long about. Mardi Gras Man also says, what are you guys going to do for the old guy segment next year? Still trying to work that out.
Recap last year's T-shirts, I guess.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see it. SK Jung, you could actually use the pieces that normally you use at the bottom of a candlestick. It will click into the four corners on the regular base plate. So in a way, you could put those on top of the road plates. Oh, I see. So on the base plate, I guess. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Edgar Morales. This might be the shortest comment ever. Old ones. I'm guessing that's about paddles. Maybe it's just about us.
Guys,
We're old ones. I don't know.
post.
Me, myself, the one. I'm glad I'm not into Lego Star Wars. Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they saw Jabba's sail barge price, they're like, yeah, I'm glad that's not for me.
It looks really nice. I mean, it's something that I could see wanting to have on my shelf, but there's no way I'm paying that for it.
Yeah. Well, I have the first sail barge up there.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, that's the original one with the sand green Jabba with no printing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, SK Jung also says, I like the old one better. Instead of making one like that, why not simply get a ping pong paddle? Well, because ping pong paddles would have been $20 and I'm cheap. There's your answer.
Isn't that what Jabbo did?
Yeah, that's what Joey had sent them to them.
Okay.
And if you stick around to the end of this episode, you might get to see some of them in use. And we'll just leave it at that. Joe Bowling says, I originally didn't think the Art of Chocolate would be a big seller. But now that I see it is a winter set, I can see a lot of Winter Village collectors make it sell fast. That's why I bought the BDP Winter Chalet from 2 years ago. Yeah,
Okay.
that. SK Jung also said, the thing I worry about is the brittle brown issue. Did they ever fix that? I guess we'll know in 10 years, won't we? I mean, I know that the room that, everyone just says, yeah, they fixed it, but how do we know this?
I still have dark red and brown and occasionally dark blue elements that, I'll be popping them up and like, oh crap. I want another one.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, and here's the comment you referenced earlier. Mardi Gras Man 23. Why is everyone flexing the Ghostbuster Firehouse? And there's one reply, which you said.
Because we can.
Because we can. Jasper Salazar says, those paddles reminded me of my initiation in a college fraternity back in my university days.
Assume the position.
That's right. Well, you should have seen it. I cut out part. Alex had both of them and was like doing all these like ninja moves with him. I was like, you're going to whack me. Bricks on an Island says, yeah, recording from the radio or worse from TV. And then when the weather was fine, you had a Phantom or Starfighter or a F-16 rushing past at low altitude in the middle of the show. Yeah.
There was always the top 9 at 9 or something like that. That I knew the top 9 songs of the day would be played at that hour. So that's when I was ready to record everything for my tapes.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully the song was still in the top 9 if you hadn't got it yet.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. ENC 7777. I don't know. The old paddles are better. Lighter with a dowel means you can spin them faster, which is still better than ping pong paddles too. Those heavy paddles will be lively and less fun. Less lively and less fun. I guess this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree with everyone's comments on the paddles.
yeah, I think we get it. I get it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I brought these up. We'll keep those for guests or something. Sonia Halcomb, the paddles may be a bit large to use as a fidget tool while chatting. You may want to keep them handy in case you have guests. Well, there you go. Just like I said. Great show. I have no FOMO on the sail barge or the GWP. Definitely no space. Yeah. See, the problem I have is I have both of the lightsabers.
Right. I don't have either.
Like,
so I have no FOMO on those.
Yeah, I get it. And plus, I do have a lot of the UCS sets. So, anyway. Rob Lyons, don't the new paddles remind you of Animal House? You can call that segment, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
You guys could do a toga party theme
There you go.
episode.
Well, Jabbo can wear a puffy shirt. I can wear a bed sheet, I guess. Brittany McCubbin, expiration dates are just suggestions. Because I think we
got to
were
give it a whiff test, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll
we
work.
were eating those things and we're like, what's the expiration on these? The other guys too. Lego releases too many CMFs per year. I agree. Maybe 2 series a year would be fine. I prefer when the CMF series is tied together under a single theme. I disagree. I don't mind when they are because sometimes I can tell at a glance if I want any. It's Batman theme. I don't want any of this series. But having the variety of options usually means there's 1 or 2 or 4 that look interesting and I can try to get those ones. Or they're in boxes and I don't want to bother gambling with those ones irregardless.
But the apps work pretty well, and it's easier to figure out what's in them now than it's ever been.
I don't know. I found the Disney CMF was pretty easy.
When you're looking for one that's got big floppy ears, right?
Yeah.
So I like the boxes. I find it easy, and my favorite CMFs were in sort of general series. And it's like the comment was, there's 2 or 3 within the 8 or whatever they've done in that run that I really, really want for the collection.
So do you generally get all of them or do you just pick, I only want?
I tend to buy all of them just because of, I can't stop myself at the moment of doing it.
Because you're like brick trains.
But I don't have, they've all melted into the collection. There's a few that are on the wall, but most have melted into the collection. So I don't have, and I can go. I go all the way back to the first or second series.
$2.
Yeah, and but I don't. I love people who've got all of them up on a base plate or something display.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I didn't do that. I wish I would have.
So have you gotten all of, for example, the Dungeons and Dragons?
I don't track it. I think there's a couple that I haven't got, but I have bought a few of them just to sort of see what they were.
Okay.
I think
I wouldn't see those as fitting in your city, so that's why I was curious.
They do have some kind of cool elements, and sometimes sometimes it's just instant gratification. Like I occasionally buy a scratch-off ticket, and I know I'm not going to win there either, but. Yeah.
Just need to reinforce the feeling of, dang it, I blew it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. You know what I find frustrating actually about the CMFs, I'll be honest, is I will, I have a good number, at least of, the last number of years. The early ones, I maybe only have a couple, but the thing I find frustrating now is there will be an element or something in one of them that was, I don't know, series 6 or whatever, and it's like, oh, if I only had 2 more of that, I could make a restaurant, or I could, this, that, or the other. And that's the part that I've found frustrating, honestly, the most about the CMFs.
Yeah, I mean, some of those elements you can buy through bricks or what, Pick a Brick or whatever the online version is called.
Yeah, but like some of them, like the flamingo, I don't think that was ever an option.
Was it never on it?
CMF,
Yeah.
right? There's some of those things. So, I don't know. You just got to do what you can do and regret later. David Kayer 2447 says, I will not be buying the sail barge. Won the price, and I would like to spend my money on the Bricklink, which is coming out on the 3rd of October. So I have to make a call. I also like the new paddles. Yes! Just wish the thumbs were on top and the stickers were on the bottom. Keep up the good work. Well, I can do that. Of course, now it's thumbs down and thumbs up. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't work. Oh, he also says, do you remember going over to your grandparents' house and see a slideshow of the trip they were on? I do. So my grandfather passed away last year.
Right.
And he was a big world traveler. Like, he went to the Soviet Union when it was the Soviet Union. He went to Red Square and all this, like, stuff people never did. Like, he went on safari in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. I mean, he was kind of ahead of his time. And, he had, 8mm and then, high 8 and all, whatever was the most current video, he would have these. And so I have a big box of all of these movies that he's made. Some go back as far as the 50s, and it's really neat to see those and have those now.
That's cool.
Anyway.
Have you got them digitized?
He did all of that. He edited them on a computer, and he was in Africa. I'm trying to remember. He was showing me the video. It was when one of the countries, like, there was a coup and the government fell. He was on a tour there. Wow. And they got flown out, and that was one of the videos from the 60s. It's crazy. It's just, and I think part of it is cool because no one was doing it then. Like, old photos, I think that's the allure of them is, even if you think
hard to take a photo back then.
Well, even if you think back to, when we were younger, in the 80s, you had 24 pictures. You weren't wasting it on what did I have for dinner or, oh, look at my, the only time I got pictures of my cat was when I was finishing that roll because I got back from the trip and I wanted to get it developed.
Right.
Right. So, and even pictures before then, like in the 70s and the 60s and the 50s, I think those have just a cool factor to them because, it's kind of like some of these old Lego sets. They're just rare. It's not like, I don't know, a Friend set or Star Wars set that everyone has. And it's just, there's not that allure.
They're rare and they tell a story about a forgotten time.
Yeah, exactly. Back when all we had was police stations and fire stations.
And occasionally a motorcycle shop.
And everything was yellow. So, my gas stations were yellow. I remember that.
Yeah.
BD Build says, I'm still waiting for a compilation of every time Alex has said space. That's what we could have done for an episode. Just an hour and a half of space.
Space.
Oh, you said you weren't going to do it. And
I know. It slipped.
Brick Trains. Oh, man, the paddles, which was going to be just a quick joke segment on our podcast, has turned into a real rumble. Well, we were not offended. We found it funny. But my wife, she did say, did you see they're stealing your bit? That's fine. I stole it from someone else, so it's okay. And he's also, sorry, go ahead.
Imitation's the best form of flattery, right?
That's right. Or it's the cheapest way to make content. Brick Trains also said, yeah, I started collecting the CMFs with Series 1. Back when they felt cheaper, like Toys R Us, feeling the bags. They were $2. Yeah. And he has even the rare ones, like the German soccer team and the Olympics
UK team.
the UK. Yeah. I think that's cool. Jimbo Bricks My car loan payment was recently ended. I now have $350 every month extra to spend on Lego. He also says, I plan to get the World of Chocolate in 2 campers. One will be for my daughter and her husband since they go camping a lot. And I think those are kind of the things that are really where Lego's great. Like when there's a connection to it,
Right.
right? And you're like, oh, whether it's a Star Wars set, a Friends set, whatever, it's like, this is something that so-and-so is going to love. So he also says those new paddles look like frat paddles. Someone is getting a whooping. Brick Artisan says for Alex, well, I guess he's not here, so you can be Alex, even though it says not Alex. I would suggest making space for the Winter Village sets. If he rearranges the medieval area where the fortress with the snow is on the right side, he could transition the next space under that to the airport to a Winter Village. So there you go. Mossy River
I
Rock.
really like his
the
bank. It's got the round.
Oh, with the curved building?
That's
Yeah.
That's really.
Yeah, it's a good looking building.
Yeah.
Mossy River Rock says, isn't this year's minifigure series just 26, the space one, and D&D? Or did 25 with the goat come out in 2024 also? I think that was the January one, wasn't it?
Sure.
I think that's how it works. I don't know. It gets hard to follow all this stuff, man. It just blends. He also says, why did you guys make such a big deal out of the paper bags and limits on gas vehicles, but not addressing the Lego statement about switching the plastics to 70% non-oil based and more sustainable materials by whatever year? They made a whole statement about it before Brick Slopes, I think. I don't remember if it was during the earnings thing or not. So I will say that is something we've heard a couple times. I remember, was it during the first LegoCon 2 years ago that, they made a push that they're going to use like recycled bottles or whatever, C plastic to make bricks. And then that kind of quietly got shelved. I mean, I think that's part of it because I'm all for recycling and reusing materials efficiently because we do have limited resources. I get that. But I also think some of this stuff is really just corporate lip sync and virtue signaling, in my opinion. I don't know. You may feel different.
Yes and no. I mean, there probably is a degree of greenwashing happening here.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I do think Lego is trying. I do think they want to be good stewards of, the earth and the environment. Mm-hmm. I do applaud them for trying new things. As the great philosopher Michael Jordan pointed out, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so I like the fact that they are trying to do new things that will minimize their environmental impact. And they try to do new things to bring new people into the hobby, et cetera, et cetera. And so I give them a little bit more grace than maybe some do. But on the other hand, I do also appreciate. I do recognize that them doing that, and kind of the way they do it, which is, they wear it on it's on the nose, does upset some folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, like, the Bricklink designer changes. Some of those things seem kind of silly. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't recall seeing any submissions for animal cruelty centers or, hunting. Like, I don't remember, and I don't have an issue with them saying, hey, we're not going to approve these. But some of these, it's like, like the gas station thing. It's like, well, you just had a corner garage like 3 years ago. I don't know.
Right. I mean, in Octan, right? I mean, they built a whole fake company around, a petroleum company. Yeah, I get that. And also, on the other hand, I also applaud them for trying to think about where we need to go as a society.
Yeah. So I don't know. Okay, let's see. Thrillmaster at 23:30. You said this is a safe space without going space. I don't recall when we said that, but okay. Oh, here we go. Who's this guy? DL Bricks. It was surreal and wonderful moment. Oh, this must have been when we talked. Yeah. So sorry you got to hear the story twice, but we had to hear it directly from what's the term? Straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
So MG says good episode according to the Brick Fanatic, which updates its retirement list shortly after new releases are announced. The Nightmare Before Christmas and the Sail Barge will both retire in 2026. I used that retirement list to put off buying a wanted set as long as possible in the hopes of losing interest in the set and never getting it at all. The risk you run there, though, is you say, okay, I'm going to go get it, and it's sold out.
Right.
Because there was one that my daughter had wanted, and I was like, no. And then finally, it was supposed to retire at the end of the year, but by September, it was all sold out. So...
I did get the Haunted Mansion from Lego on clearance.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So used to you could still get a few sets that Lego would put on clearance themselves, and
yeah,
I forget what it was. I don't know if it was 50% off or 25% off, whatever it was. But I did. I had been not getting it. I saw that, and I'm like, oh, I better get it. Yeah.
Now, is this which one? The Disney Haunted Mansion, the small one, or the?
No. The Monster Fighters Mansion.
Oh, the Monster. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's that one. There's also the one with the drop tower.
Right. Yeah. No, the original Monster Fighter Mansion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
I don't know exactly what it's called.
Let's see. Okay, SG Bricks. We canceled the hotel near Legoland, Germany, and drove back the 7 hours in the evening instead of 2 hours drive and 5 hours the next day. The money went straight to the Lego factory store in Legoland. Why don't you leave one of those paddles at each house, and then we can still see them both? Well, there's an option.
Kind of like you're doing with the food segment.
Yes. Well, it also, so I have two tripods. One of them, a little part on it broke, so I bought another one. So I have one that's at his house and one is at my house.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, Delson's Brick Builds says Lost City was a lot of fun to build, but I definitely think it won't sell out either. Oh, yeah.
What is that?
So that's the Bricklink Designer program, the Lost City. It's like a jungle temple kind of thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he had helped out Alex because they had some people build those sets during the show, and he got to keep that set. So,
nice.
Which is kind of a neat little thing. Utini, I'm going to guess a Star Wars fan, just to go out on a limb. Not a perfect match, but my favorite example of unearned splurging is my wife at the grocery store seeing donuts and deciding not to buy them. Thinks about them again and decides not to buy them. Then thinks about them again and thinks, I've said no to these twice. I deserve them now as a reward. All in one grocery trip. So that's not 3 trips. That's the same grocery trip. That's funny. But for me, it's realizing I don't owe as much on taxes as an excuse for buying May 4th Star Wars sets. That's funny. Let's see. Maybe just a couple more. We have, Mayo says, I prefer realistic castle over fantasy castle. Stuff like D&D doesn't interest me, and neither does the Bricklink Designer Program castle sets. The Swedish Oak, old paddles were much better. And, the last one here, this is from Level Up Rob. It says, make the next paddles out of Lego. There you go.
And I would love to have done a thumbs up and thumbs down, but I'm just not that good. So,
hey,
arrow works pretty well.
It's a lot better than this.
No, those have personality.
Anyway, all right. Well, I think we have.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's still watching. Do you think anyone is, or do you think they left? They didn't see Jabba or Alex, and they said, "I'm out of here."
I'm out of here.
Yeah. Well,
not this guy again.
There you go. All right.
Alex, thanks for having me. Jason, thanks for having me. Yeah.
You're welcome. I appreciate you coming in. Do you want to plug your, I don't know if people are still on here at this point, but do you want to plug your Instagram?
At DL_bricks.
And what can they find there?
Shelves. Various stages of completing not Lego products.
I can see why you aren't a salesman. They can also find your amazing city. I see lots of pictures on there of that.
Yeah, so mostly one of the things I like to do when I'm really building mocks is I like to sort of highlight how it's evolving, and so I will share images of things that are still thoughts that works in progress or sort of thoughts and things, but really mainly I'm known for my city. I'll do 2, 3, maybe 4 mocks a year as far as sort of modular style buildings. I do a little bit of other stuff, but mainly it's something that will go into the city.
Yeah. Well, I would say even more than being known for your city, you're known for that park. That park is amazing, and I love seeing pictures of it every time. So go out, guys, check out his channel. No, it's not a channel. It's I don't know, his handle. I don't know.
YouTube, Instagram. Go out and
check out his Instagram at DL_bricks. Give him a follow, a like. I don't know what you do over there. I just see things and they show up and I like them or not. So I'm too old for this. Anyway, again, thank you, Dennis, for stepping in and being our backup emergency goalie. E-bug, emergency backup goalie. Oh, yeah. I said you were a bag. Please be on.
Well, when you texted last night, if we could do it last night, I didn't catch that originally because I was already in my pajamas and in bed by the time.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. I was like, yeah, just anytime this weekend will work. Just if it works for you. So again, I appreciate you stepping in and doing that. So thank you, and thank you to you guys for watching. If you're still here, we appreciate it. And I guess with that, we'd like to thank
today's sponsor.
This episode of the Bricky News is being brought to you by the A Full Podcast.
Have you ever been tricked into learning by watching Schoolhouse Rock?
Or did you ever feel like a champion because you won Connect 4?
And if you ever like the Fonz, you might be in the right place.
Breaking news. Lego is expensive because you keep buying it.
That was
you know what grinds my gears?
What's
food
that?
segments. Is there going to be a food segment?
You did right.
So I should go ahead and start eating?
I got my snack, though.
I don't understand why we have to eat this while we're making a video. Nobody wants to hear
so rude to talk while you're eating.
Oh, I gotta chew all this up now because I stuck like 3 of the dang things in my mouth.
Can we agree, or do we disagree, that the food segment needs to stay?
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter what we think. Alex is never going to let it go.
Old guy. You sure?
Joseph Olsen standing in a field staring.
Do you like the new agree to disagree paddles?
Did you ever get paddled?
I'll get something out of it.
Have you ever been tricked into doing a sponsored video?
Here at the A-Full Podcast, the Breaking News is our favorite podcast.
Well, maybe it's our second favorite podcast.
Watch the Breaking News, and thanks for watching this episode because we sponsored it.
How much are we getting paid for this?